So the leadership studies that have been done, learning from successful leaders of various disciplines, they've found commonalities, talking about imposter syndrome, which is one of the terms that we use, changing expectations of what a leader looks like. And then we'll talk a little bit about how do you or will you lead. So let's talk first about leadership styles. So the personality traits or characteristics of a great leader, you just listed a bunch of them in the chat. They performed over 1,000 studies to attempt to determine which personality traits proven leaders have in common. I don't know the exact parameters of these studies, but I know they were done with people like Steve Jobs and other names that you would probably recognize, people who have had a lot of success leading companies, groups of people, et cetera, et cetera. And they wanted to figure out, okay, what are the traits? Are they all charismatic? Are they all extroverts? What's the story? And the results of these studies show that there is just not a singular type of leader. There's not just one trait or one set of traits that define these people. But there is one thing that almost all of the leaders that had a proven track record of success had in common. They showed passion for their purpose. There was a singularity in their passion, their motivation, and their purpose. They practiced their values consistently. Whatever it is that they believed deeply came through in everything that they did. They led with their heart as well as their head. So they weren't just, right answer and so forth, but really coming from a place of humanness. And then oftentimes the leadership itself emerged from one's life story. So I want to talk about that a little bit. One of the resources was the Harvard Business Review, Discovering Your Authentic Voice. Leadership has many voices. You need to be who you are, not try to be someone else. And this is something we hear a lot. It's kind of a soundbite, be who you are, or your true self. And sometimes it's hard to know exactly what that means. You might get lost in that language a little bit because who you are naturally might sometimes come into conflict with what you need to do. Let's say you're naturally an introverted person, but you have to be up in front and ready to lead. So what we're going to talk about is how might you address something that to you might feel like a shortcoming, but in essence, it can become a strength. So I want to think through that with you a little bit. So here's some leadership styles that are somewhat typical. And let's see if you find yourself in any of these. So one style is coach.